12:26 a.m. 51 seconds, June 3, 2017.
What are you talking about?
911, where's your emergency?
Somebody was just shot in my yard, 27 Mansville Road.
Okay. Ma'am, somebody was actually hit?
They were shot, yes. I think he's dead. I don't know what happened.
Do you know this person?
I think it's my husband's friend. I think his name is Joey Leeman.
Law enforcement and EMS arrive at 27 Nunyaville Road in Colleton County on the night of June 3, 2017, to find a man lying on the ground next to a burgundy Buick sedan. A woman kneels over him, vainly administering CPR. Both are covered in blood. The man on the ground is Joseph Leeman Jr., age 29. He has been killed by a gunshot wound to his head and back while making a drug deal in her friend's backyard. The woman tending to him, Leeman's girlfriend, tells officers that Leeman picked up a haul of methamphetamine earlier that day in Charleston. The purchase was followed by several messages between Leeman and one of his regular buyers, Dana Castillo Martinez, also known as Chula. Martinez arranged to meet Leeman that night and arrives after dark in a white 1998 Acura. Although Martinez appears to be alone, Leeman tells his girlfriend that he recognizes the vehicle as belonging to a man who had recently tried to cheat him in a drug deal. Leeman, his girlfriend, and his friend sit in Leeman's red Buick as Leeman haggles with Martinez over the amount of drugs she is to buy. Suddenly, a young, dark-complexioned man in dark clothes comes sprinting through the darkness. He's pointing a gun. He goes to the driver's side of the Buick, where Leeman's girlfriend sits. He demands money and drugs. Leeman refuses. Leeman's friend leaps out of the back seat and runs into the woods near his house. The gunman grabs Leeman's girlfriend by the hair and drags her out of the car. "I'm gonna shoot your bitch," he yells, as he presses the gun against her head and forces her to her knees. "You ain't gonna shoot nobody, cuz," replies Leeman, who is now outside the vehicle and making his way towards his girlfriend and the gunman. His girlfriend can no longer see him, but believes Leeman has pulled the small caliber handgun he usually keeps tucked in his waistband during drug deals. Then she hears several gunshots. Leeman's girlfriend hopes he has saved her, but an instant later she looks up to see Leeman standing before her, blood streaming from his head. He slumps to the ground. As Leeman lay there bleeding, his girlfriend crawls away, partly in fear for her own life, partly because the gunman insists that she hand over money and drugs. Without thinking, she helps him rifle through the Buick while pleading for her life. Leeman's girlfriend has lost sight of Martinez, but can now hear her crying. The gunman tells Martinez to move, and they make their way to the white Acura. The gunman turns to Leeman's girlfriend. "If you tell anyone, I'll kill you." Then Martinez and the gunman speed away. Leeman's girlfriend tells authorities she recognizes the man who killed Leeman. She says his name is Corey Sanders, and he is fresh out of prison after burglary and strong-armed robbery convictions. Sanders will be charged with murder. Tameaka Legette of the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office prosecutes the case.
You have the people who are willing to risk it all to go out and rob somebody and then kill the person they're trying to rob. And so it's one of those cases that makes you angry, and it also is very depressing.
As investigators hear more from witnesses, the complexity of Legette's task only increases. The first twist in Legette's case comes shortly after the crime scene tape is stretched across Nunyaville Road. As friends and family begin to gather near the flashing lights, a man who lives nearby tells an officer he has information about Leeman's killing. Gary Dale Hickman informs Colleton County Sheriff's Office investigators that Dana Martinez arrived at his home a short while earlier, extremely upset and crying. She told Hickman that Leeman had just been shot. Hickman said Martinez was still at his home and offers to take deputies there. Parked in Hickman's yard is the white 1998 Acura, which is registered to a Harold Hatchell. Hatchell is nowhere to be seen, but Martinez is found sobbing in a camper on Hickman's property. She agrees to go to the station and make a statement. The next day, Sanders is located at his mother's home in Walterboro. He also is taken to the station for questioning. He denies involvement in Leeman's death, but is charged with murder, kidnapping, armed robbery, and possession of a firearm and commission of a violent crime. And he is not the last person who will be charged in this crime. That's because Martinez's story isn't adding up. She claims she went to Nunyaville Road alone to buy marijuana, that she didn't know who the gunman was, that the assailant came out of nowhere and tried to rob them all. But Colleton County Sheriff's Office investigators aren't buying it.
you better try again.
Investigators already know what Martinez has tried to deny. She does know the assailant. In fact, she picked him up from his home shortly before this drug deal gone bad. Martinez is arrested as well. And there was a third person in the car that night too, Hatchell. At first, he denies any involvement beyond letting Martinez borrow his car that night. But as investigators confront him with evidence, first he admits he was in the car, then he admits they devised a plan to rob Leeman.
The driver part didn't really come into taking stuff with Corey.
Whose car is it?
My car.
Who's driving?
Dana driving.
Who's in the back seat?
Corey.
Whose car is it?
My car.
Hatchell is charged as an accessory before the fact of a felony. After 2 days in the Colleton County Detention Center, Martinez is ready to change her story. She admits that she, Sanders, and Hatchell learned earlier in the day that Leeman had acquired a large quantity of ice, a street name for crystal methamphetamine. They planned to rob him, but had no idea Sanders would kill Leeman. Also in on the robbery plan? Hickman, the man who showed up on Nunyaville Road after the murder to lead authorities to Martinez. He is familiar to law enforcement. Hickman has a slew of pending drug and gun-related charges. He also knew Leeman had been robbed before and considered the dealer an easy mark. In fact, before Sanders was ever in on the plot, Hickman helped set things in motion and provided the gun that would be used to kill Leeman. He is charged as an accessory, in part based upon Martinez's new statement.
Tell me the truth right now. Don't let me walk out of here because it's not going to help you. Where's the gun?
Dale Hickman.
He had it?
He got rid of it.
On the night of Leeman's murder, Hatchell asked to be let out of the car just before arriving at the home on Nunyaville Road. Having just cheated Leeman in a drug deal the week before, he's afraid his presence would alert Leeman and foil their robbery plans. Sanders gets out of the car with him. Hatchell's getting cold feet, but Sanders takes the gun. Within minutes, he is sprinting out of the darkness towards Leeman and his girlfriend. When Hatchell hears gunfire, he runs to an acquaintance's house on Nunyaville Road. Hatchell is left behind when Sanders and Martinez flee. He manages to make his way back to Hickman's house that night, only to discover his car already has been impounded. In October 2018, Martinez, aged 39, pleads guilty to attempted armed robbery and agrees to testify against Sanders and Hatchell. She is to receive 10 to 20 years, with sentencing delayed until the court is satisfied she has testified truthfully.
The good part was whenever Ms. Martinez got Tracy Campbell was assigned to represent her, she brought her forward immediately and said, listen, this is what we have, but it was good for our case. When Dana Martinez agreed to cooperate.
But as it turns out, Martinez never has to testify. In May 2019, Sanders, age 27, pleads guilty to involuntary manslaughter and is sentenced to 25 years in prison. Hatchell, age 63, pleads guilty as an accessory before the fact of a felony and receives a 3-year sentence. On August 7, 2019, Martinez is sentenced on the attempted robbery. Her attorney argues for a suspended sentence, and in court, her daughter makes a tearful and heartfelt plea for leniency. However, Martinez receives a 10-year sentence.
It's so unfortunate and it's so sad because so many families are forever ruined by the illicit drug trade that we don't necessarily always see as being dangerous. I've heard people that I know say it's victimless, but it's not victimless. It claims lives, whether by overdose, whether by murder like this. That's one of the hardest parts for me. You know, Mr. Leeman was there. Joey is his only son. His life has changed. Joey's birthday was the same day as Dana's sentencing, and he felt closure. And then you have the impact for Dana Martinez's family and that young girl, her daughter, who stood there, you know, with all the strength she could muster, and my heart went out to her. But unfortunately, you know, Joey also has, I believe, 2 children who aren't able to speak, who weren't present. Nobody wins.
Legette is a member of the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office Career Criminal Unit. The team prosecutes the circuit's most violent and habitual offenders. The team has now earned convictions against 335 of the 349 defendants it has prosecuted since its formation in late 2008. Gary Dale Hickman never stands trial for his alleged role in Leeman's death. In November 2017, 5 months after Leeman's murder, Hickman's body is discovered in the very camper where authorities found Martinez. Hickman is face down in a pool of his own blood, with a gunshot to his head. Drug paraphernalia is scattered on the bed nearby. Authorities believe Hickman was killed in a drug-related gun battle. When authorities roll him over, they discover a small Walther pistol. It is the gun that was used to kill Leeman.